Hello there. Thank you for joining me for this vocal dynamic workout. It's really nice to be able to put some of the concepts in practice like this and do a workout based around finding dynamics in the singing voice. I love dynamics. We can be real artists. This is where we can push and pull and add different colors and different tones and textures. And the main part of dynamics is really playing around with the volume coming in and out. That's the easiest one you can do. And there are many other ways too, such as highlighting your lyrics. That's also another really great way, bringing out certain words in your lyrics and phrases rhythmically, and also just the meaning of it. So what we're going to start off with is just looking at getting the fine control of the voice and also some body balance, because without that, we're not able to effectively use the dynamics. So the dynamics are, it's like imagine you're driving a car. You want to come in and out, smoothly change gears rather than stop, start, screeching and turning it on and off. So in order to establish that, we really need to maintain a good sense of balance. So to start with, I'd like for you to close your eyes. We're going to bring in this idea of floating, swaying, and wafting from Arthur Lassac. So this starts to turn on your balance. So you should be standing. I'm sitting here, I've got on my piano, but if you stand, then you will have a better sense of balance. So you're just going to bring a sense of swaying, wafting, floating. Allow yourself to be held here in time and space. Take a deep breath. Start to just come into this space as opposed to thinking about other worrying thoughts. You're in here, in this space now. With the eyes shut off, with the swaying, we're going to start coming into almost like a meditation of sorts, and your body is constantly picking up on this fine sense of balance. And let your jaw drop down. Take a deep breath, like you've had Novocaine at the dentist. Just let it hang. And hopefully you feel safe here. Sometimes this swaying can make you feel a little bit off balance, but it won't be long until your brilliant mind turns that on, that sense. And this is exactly what we want. We want to disturb the body sense of balance so that our mind can then make up for that, turn it on. All right, now come out of that and feel a little bit more grounded and find your bearings here, and just shoulders up, back and down. And let's go ahead and bring a vocal fry. The first thing we do, getting that fine control, a great idea is the vocal fry. So you're feeling where your actual vocal folds are. You're not putting stress on them because we're not putting a lot of air. Just let it crackle. If you're struggling, if you hear a constraint sound, that means you're pushing too hard, you've got too much air running through. Take away all the air, let it fall down now. So we'll go at the very end, you'll find that crackle. Let's do that one more time. Great, good job. Now on a so if someone asks you a question, hey Becky, so I want you to bring We're not using the vocal fry anymore. We're using a sound, like you're answering a question. Now notice where your voice places on that second pitch up that is natural for you. So you just want to feel your voice there in that spot. And now we're going to do a few vocal function exercises. These come from Dr. Joseph Stimple, and it's from the Blaine Block Institute for Vocal Analysis and Rehabilitation. So these are strengthening exercises and also really great for that fine control. So I'm going to play a note here. Now, I'm going to play a few notes, and you're going to pick the note. So I've got a C, an F, and then middle C. So you pick which one, and the F above that as well. So we've got C3, F3, C4, F4. And you're just going to hold on one note. Pick one of these notes. All right, let's open that up to the sound of ooh. Ready? Pick another note. You might want to pick a different note this time. Okay. And now pick a different note from the one before. Here are your 4 choices. So you get a sense of it's quite hard to, keep your breath very steady and also just keep that one sound. And again, it's a little bit like finding the balance of the body. Your voice is just getting that sense. So instead of just going in to sing, we're just developing that fine control. Okay, now we're going to do a glide. So we're going to do it on the, like on the word, it says, do it on the word whoop. So again, that vowel ooh. So we're going to glide from the lowest note to the highest note. Ooh. Okay, and now let's do the same thing on your lowest note on the word knoll. So the vowel is O. Oh. So your goal is to have no voice breaks. So you're really smoothing it out. Now let's go from your highest note down to the lowest note. Let's do on the word whoop. So it's the vowel oo. I think they just give the words to give you a reference of what the vowel should be. So oo. Okay, and let's do the sound of O, knoll. All right. Okay, so now I want you to let's do a lip trill. And so I want you to think of it going in and out with the dynamics. So we want to play around with that sort of shifting gear. So you want to press in. So even just on the lip trill, you're going to feel how you can do that. Now we're going to do an octave jump. So you might not necessarily do the low note soft, the high note big. I want you to change it up each time. Get that sense of how you can push the brakes or push the gas pedal, ride, just back away a little bit, or see what you can change here. Feeling the need for that fine control. Probably I'd say more for the quieter version than the louder version. That's it, we're supposed to be doing lip trill. I'm going to go light, then loud. Now I'm going to do the opposite. It's really quite difficult to back away from the dynamics on the top note because it requires a certain amount of energy. Now, let's go down chromatically. So I'm going to start here. On the shape of oo, really, really light. Keep your dynamic light. It's like walking down a staircase. You just naturally want to just come straight down, but keeping the dynamic light and going chromatically means you have to be very, very careful as you go down. Now, let's open up our shape of eval. Whee! So you just get that sense of freedom. Whee! That really helps, I think, when starting on an E up high. Now, the same thing, pick your octave. We're going to go. All right, excellent work. Okay, now let's look at the word one, and we're going to look at playing around with pressing into the dynamic. So again, pick. I want you to add the dynamic. I want you to ride the wave. So get that feeling, sometimes really backing away, sometimes pressing in. What does that feel like? So we're going to do it like this. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now, there are different types of press as well. Do you want that edgy press, that vocal cord contact? 1, like we say, no. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Or do you want to add a bit more depth, a bit more hootiness to it to create a deeper tone? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Play around with the word dark. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Good. Now let me give you the word light. 1, 1, 1, 1. Those two words are quite subjective. You might interpret different to me. I'm going to give you the word resonance. 1, 1, 1, 1. I notice my vibrato naturally comes with that when I think that. I want to give you the word tone. 1, 1, 1, 1. Volume. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Let's do that one again. Play around with it. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Articulation. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Rhythm. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right. Shaping. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Wow, it's interesting how these words can bring on connotation. So it's that idea of changing a dynamic. And I noticed that other things come into that too. So, if I was thinking shaping, really, my vowel really opened up. I dropped my jaw. When I was thinking rhythm, I got sort of more staccato on the notes. when I was thinking volume, that one is great for general musicianship. So when we talk about dynamics in music, it's really either pulling back on the volume or leaning into the volume. That's the most natural one that you can change. When you're into lyrics, we get into a lot more articulation, rhythm, movement, the shaping, that kind of thing. Our voice has a lot more to the dynamics than an instrument, than a piano or a guitar does. Now, let's do the sound of way. Okay, so now we're going to say. So say like this. Way. So nice and light and bright to start with. And then I want you to come out of that and start to change as well. Way. Think of getting some nice vertical length. I want you to think of the sound of a violin. Okay, so we're getting that sort of shrill. It's like we're tightening the guitar string. So, you know, that sound. Imagine the sound of a violin now. Notice how that shifts your dynamic. Can you do that dynamic but still keep it light? Okay, good. Now let's give a press to this. Now I want you to think of the press like vertically. So I don't want you to go, what? Don't be tempted to do that. So we don't want our voice to fall apart when we're doing dynamics, either strong or light. We want to keep it right in the pocket. So we're going to give it a press, but I want you to go straight in that pocket. If you need to do this little trick. Now to finish off, I want to do a little bit of lip trill just to bring your voice back down, but we're still looking at that in the sense of the dynamic. So press into it or keep it light, but move that dynamic around. So let's do. Good. Now that was very much in one dynamic. So we're doing that, just that arpeggio up and down. Now I'm going to shift it around. and you pull back without allowing your voice to break apart. Just enough to make the note. All right, great. Now let's try this on a song. So I've got a song here. There's a fine, fine line from Avenue Q, the musical, which is filled with puppets. And we're not going to sing it in the puppet voice. It naturally makes you want to put on a little voice like this. We don't want that. But we want to just bring our own sense of dynamic to it. Now, if you don't know it, don't worry, because we're just going to go through and just learn it line by line. So I'm going to play it for you first. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth the uphill climb. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of your time. Okay, right, so we're just going to spend a little bit of time just learning that. Let's do it line by line. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. Let's do that again. Repeat after me. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. Next line. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. Let's do that again. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. Next line. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth the uphill climb. Let's do that line again. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth the uphill climb. Last line. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of time. Right. Now I'm also going to play this in different keys because we all have different voices, and the key is so important to the dynamic because it's where your voice blooms. That key is pretty good for my voice, but for other types of voices, lower voices especially, that's going to be really off for your voice. So I'm going to play around with different keys. I'm just going to go up first, one key. This one's still pretty okay for me. Now we're going to look at this as we're learning it. We're going to look at it in a couple different ways. So I want you to bring to mind your paint set, all the things that you can change. Start with volume, that's the easiest one. The articulation, how can you lean into certain words? Think dark, think light, think of your resonance, how you go onto the note, the onset, the rhythm. If you want tone, the vowel shaping. I mean, the possibilities are endless, so you can really play around. Okay, let's go through it. You're still learning it, I know, but this time you can kind of be a bit more loose with it. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth the uphill climb. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of time. Okay, so now I want you to change some other things about it. Change something different than how you did last time. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth the uphill climb. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of time. All right, good. Okay, now let's look at it from the point of view of emotion-led, because there are really two ways that we can approach dynamics. We can approach it from just, how am I going to craft this? I'm going to come in, I'm going to come out, I'm going to change this, change that. That's quite exciting because you're literally like an artist. But it can be a little bit mechanical. So if we were to look at the storyline, so let's have a look at some emotions. So what I've written down from this song are sadness, regret, anger, confusion, fear, risk, frustration, and someone being scorned. So those are the ones that come to mind when I hear these words and the melody and how it comes across. So I want you to think of that now as you're singing it. Now I've gone up in key. This will be really good for some lower voices, basses, baritones. And for like us altos, sopranos, we might need to drop down as we get, as the pitch goes higher. So you'll hear me drop down. But for the lower voices, you might want to really like lean into the last two lines. Now I'm going to prompt you with some emotions. Okay, first line, I want you to think sadness and regret. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. Okay, next line, anger and confusion. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. Okay, next line, try fear, risk, and frustration. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth the uphill climb. There's a fine, fine, sorry, let me do that last line again. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of time. Okay, let's do the last line again. And think of that sort of really scorned. You're scorned. You're over it. There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of your time. Notice how that just makes you sing in a different way when we think of the emotion of it. Now let's try one more key. Okay, so same thing here. I want you to play around. Which way do you find it easier to do? Do you find making those changes, thinking of the mechanical changes, or do you find bringing an emotion-led basis for this, for bringing out your dynamic, or a combination of both? That's what I like to do. So I'll let you do that now. There's a fine, fine line between a lover and a friend. There's a fine, fine line between reality and pretend. And you never know till you reach the top if it was worth There's a fine, fine line between love and a waste of your time. Okay, right. Well, I hope you have enjoyed that and got a lot out of that. And I would encourage you to try out adding dynamics to your own songs, especially the songs that you know and you feel really comfortable with, because you can really play around then, because you're not thinking about the melody, everything. That song might have been tricky for you because you're just literally taking that long to learn it as I was going. But with the songs that you know, you can really start to play around with this. I would love to hear you. Thanks for following me, and hope you've enjoyed this exercise lesson. Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.